And here's a message from Dolly Parton's family posted on Instagram.
My name is Brian Seaver, son of Cassie Parton, and I am representing the Parton and Owens family today, announcing the passing of my Aunt Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, sister, sis, Aunt Granny to one generation and Gigi to the next. This video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago, before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now. It is an honor that is mixed with absolute pride and great sadness. But sadness lies with us, not with Dolly. Dolly has lived in the light and is in the arms of Jesus, surely met by Carl, her parents, and countless others who have watched her and longed for her to meet them in the heavens. I first went on the road with Dolly as a kid, getting a taste of the road life in the early 1980s. Dolly opened doors not just for me, but for her entire family to reach the potential we didn't even know was possible. Dolly also opened doors for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers from every walk of life and across every continent. By her example, we believed that anything was possible. She never saw a door she couldn't open, and the doors she opened made and changed history. My family and I have shared a lifetime of beautiful memories with Dolly, but so have you. She has always been on your television, your record player, your CD, and on your phone playlist, becoming an extended part of your family whether you liked it or not. Our family and the team she has entrusted with her legacy will work diligently to ensure her spirit will live with us forever. Dolly was a farmer, just like her daddy. He farmed the soil, she farmed songs and happiness. Dolly called me and said she wants to rest in a beautiful bed of plush cotton because after a life wearing heavy rhinestones, she finally deserves to be comfortable and have some rest. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly, Aunt Granny, Gigi. May God bless Dolly Parton, and may God bless you all. She will always love you.
That statement posted by Brian Seaver, Dolly Parton's nephew, on behalf of the family, and that sign-off from him, a reference to one of her greatest hits, I Will Always Love You. Well, joining us now is Chris Willman, senior writer for Variety, who has met and interviewed Dolly Parton over several decades through his career. Chris, thank you very much for joining us. This is such sad news, isn't it? She was a truly loved figure.
Yeah, I mean, it's devastating in a way because we all had fears about what these health concerns that had come up that kept her from fulfilling some of her obligations meant. But if there's anyone we thought would be immortal, it's Dolly, and who should be immortalized on some sort of Mount Rushmore if we're going to build a cultural monument to anyone. She would be on it. She was part of every aspect of entertainment, film star, TV star, and in the world of music, obviously a pop crossover superstar, pioneered pop crossover, but kept her country cred. I mean, she would do bluegrass albums. And so even people who hate Nashville loved Dolly Parton and knew that there was like some basic integrity under all that flash.
And tell us about the occasions when you interviewed Dolly and what do you remember most about those?
Well, you probably never forget the first time you meet Dolly Parton and what she said to you. And so in my case, it was in the 1980s. She had the trio album out with Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris. And I remember going to the record company and they were like breaking us up, doing each interview one at a time. And so when I was elected to go into a room with Dolly Parton, she says, "Oh, you're going to leave me alone in a room with this handsome man?" And of course, as innocent as can be, but once Dolly Parton flirts with you, I still have dreams, 40 years later, where Dolly Parton is flirting with me. So you never get over that kind of personal attention from her. And
a very clever way to disarm the interviewer who might be attempting to come in with some tough questions.
Yeah, it's funny because she did know that I had been tough on her in a review. I was shocked. I had reviewed that trio project she did with Linda Emmylou, and it was kind of her return to traditional country. And I said, this is the kind of stuff that Dolly Parton should have been doing all along, not some of this kind of pop fluff that she had become famous for. And she had read that review, kind of to my embarrassment, and came in and started offering a defense of why she wanted to do all kinds of music and why she stood behind all the pop glossy stuff that she had done as well as this rootsy stuff. And I was really charmed by that. She was not doing it in an antagonistic way at all, but I was shocked that, she reads her reviews and she had something to say back to me about it.
And talk to us about everything else that she did apart from music, which was obviously a huge, huge part of her career, the origins of her success. But she was a musician and much more besides.
Yeah, her movie career was sort of so short-lived, at least as a leading lady, that people almost overlook it now. But, when 9 to 5 came out in 1980, of course, there was the title song for that. But, her screen presence really towered over, I think, Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, which is a tall order, and from a very short lady. And she completely owned that role. And of course, many years later, I interviewed her when she was turning 9 to 5 into a Broadway musical. And I loved the musical. She wrote great songs for it, but without Dolly in that role, people felt something was missing. And she continued to have like a great movie career for a few years. Did Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, Rhinestone, movies like that. And then she kind of set that aside. I think she realized that was not really for her, that she was going to be limited to playing herself. And she really focused on music again. But that run of movies, people still watch those today, and such an impact on, I think, people's perceptions of dumb blondes. Of course, her first single was called Dumb Blonde. And to the very end, she was playing with it, joking like that, like, I know that you know that I know that this is all kind of a put on, and yet it's very authentic at the same time. There's a whole strange dichotomy that we loved.
And writers, whether it's of novels or songs, are always told, write what you know about, aren't they? And she certainly delved into her very humble beginnings for much of her material. And those humble beginnings also inspiring a lot of her business and philanthropy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. People associate her with literacy campaigns. What a thing to be associated for when, the other thing people remember you for most is being on Johnny Carson and boob jokes. And at the same time, embracing that and then embracing this very serious mission to empower kids, to empower people back in her community that she was so in touch with in East Tennessee. And so books and boobs, there's some alliteration there that seems kind of silly. And yet, that's the breadth of the things that we associate with her as a philanthropist, as a humanitarian, as well as an entertainer. And, I feel like, being in a room with her, being anywhere near her, she had this almost kind of messianic presence. I know that's kind of overstating it, but she's like the least polarizing entertainer superstar in history, really. There's no one who didn't like Dolly Parton. Probably any other superstar, from the Beatles to Elvis and so on, you can find, not for me. Never met anyone who didn't love Dolly Parton, from, the most sort of virulent left wing, or certainly she was beloved by the LGBTQ community, all the way to the right wing. And, I think there's some on the far right that go, oh, we're a little suspicious that she's so inclusive, but we love her anyway. She's one of ours. So 100% approval rating for Dolly Parton, I think, throughout history.
And just a final thought from you, Chris, if I may. If you think about artists now, everyone from like Taylor Swift to Beyonce, who have, had their country music moments as well, how much do you think they have been influenced, subconsciously or otherwise, by Dolly Parton?
I think certainly every woman in country, there's Dolly and there's Loretta. That's like the top tier. And certainly Dolly was on a bigger level as a superstar. But both people who became popular icons, as well as being great songwriters. And Dolly Parton is opening a hotel in Nashville, or at least her team will be opening this hotel in Nashville, and it has like song in the title of the hotel. I wish I could remember the exact title, but songs meant the most to her. And after she kind of dropped out of Hollywood and became more of a producer and a cameo player, she continued writing songs. And I Will Always Love You, one of the biggest songs of all time. It's what an incredible legacy through pop music as well as country. And the fact that with those long nails she had, I still remember her on a stage picking a guitar, thinking, how does she do that? What's the trick to having what looks like 5-inch nails, and then you're picking a guitar like you just stepped out of East Tennessee?
The Songteller Hotel, Chris. I've just looked it up. She was a songteller and a storyteller. Chris, thank you so much for talking to us. Appreciate your time. Chris Willman, senior writer for Variety, who met and interviewed Dolly Parton a number of times through his career.